On July 1st, 1940, the first Tacoma Narrows Bridge opened in Tacoma, Washington. The bridge was built over the Puget Sound and was intended to be a quicker route to travel to the Gig Harbor, replacing the Mosquito Fleet. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge was a suspension bridge that was a total of 1,810 meters long, making it at the time the third longest suspension bridge in the world. From the beginning of construction in 1938, the deck would move vertically, even with the slightest wind. This led the workers to give the bridge the name Galloping Gertie. Three months into the bridge being open, people realized that revisions needed to be made. The steel girders were not allowing wind to pass through, allowing it to sway. 5 days before the collapse, architects got together and proposed two plans to try to stabilize the bridge. The first proposal was to drill holes on the side of the deck to allow air to flow through. This would limit the swaying of the bridge. The second proposal was to reinforce the sides of the bridge with curved pieces to allow air to flow over and under it. This was the desired proposal. However, a mere 4 months after the opening of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, winds were 64 kilometers per hour, causing the bridge to sway vertically. On November 7, 1940, the gale force winds caused a cable on the suspension bridge to snap. After this happened, the bridge had no control and finally collapsed at 11 o'clock a.m. The collapse took only one life with it, a three-legged Cocker Spaniel named Tubby. The initial conclusion as to why the bridge collapsed was due to resonance vibrations, but it was just recently discovered that the actual cause of the collapse was due to aeroelastic flutter. The little vibrations caused by the wind are called resonance vibrations. Resonance is when an object vibrates at a specific frequency. The frequency does not change throughout the entire time, however, the amplitude or distance of the vibrations do change. In other words, resonance vibrations start out small, but oscillate with greater amplitude over time. Shortly after the Tacoma Narrows Bridge plunged into the Puget Sound, the United States entered World War II. Instead of rebuilding the bridge, the steel from the collapsed bridge was collected and used in tanks and airplanes for the war. The rest of the bridge that remained in the water was never recovered and became artificial reefs. In 1950, 10 years after the bridge collapsed, another suspension bridge was built and opened. This time, there were 3 major revisions. One revision was the designers extended the trusses from 8 feet to 33 feet. The second was that wind grates were made on the deck of the bridge to allow air to flow through. This ensures stability. The final revision was that hydraulic shock absorbers were put into place. Engineers gave the new and improved bridge the nickname Stable Gertie. In 2007, due to heavy traffic, a bridge parallel to the already open bridge in Tacoma was built. Now, one side carries westbound and the other side carries eastbound traffic. Along with a huge lesson learned in bridge construction, changes had to be made to other suspension bridges with similar design. For example, extra support had to be added to the Bronx Whitestone Bridge in New York.